Hello everybody, and welcome to JagaVision episode 126. Today is a show I've been looking forward to for quite some time, the owners of Copper Spirit. They're the ones who released this really amazing collaboration gin with...
We're a family-run boutique distillery. The whole concept is organic craft spirits, the best possible wholesome ingredients that we can possibly find, and it's all made in the spirit of connection.
I'm Jared Nyberg, I am your host, and I am here now 126 weeks, 126 episodes of talking to some really fantastic folks, having a really good time making some teas for you. Today is a show I've been looking forward to for quite some time. We've been talking about getting the owners of Copper Spirit on the show for a while now, and we made it happen. So they're the ones who in July we released this really amazing collaboration gin with. They did all the hard work, of course. They did all the distilling and all the work with the grains, and they're going to tell you a little bit more of that process, and we brought in some of the yuzu and the tencha that they use in that process. So we'll be talking about that. With no further ado, though, my guests are actually already here. So Miguel and Candice, welcome to JagaVision.
Hi.
Good, huh?
We're doing really well. Thank you for having us.
We had a really good time visiting you in July. Really love your space. It's so beautiful, and your project is so inspiring. And
We're so glad you made the trek all the way here. Thank you.
I was able to go with Steve Schmiller, my guitar player. He's also an incredible visual artist, and we were able to do the Truth and Dolphin music project performance. We had a good time also doing a JagaSilk matcha sort of tasting the next day, but in and amongst all of that was the awesomeness that is Copper Spirit. So we got to try some of those bitters that you guys made, the gin, the spirits. Like, it was just, yeah, it was really, really cool. For those who are watching, can you tell them a little bit about Copper Spirit?
Okay, so Copper Spirit, we're a family-run boutique distillery. We opened 3 years ago, but it's been about 8 years in the making. And the whole concept is organic craft spirits, the best possible wholesome ingredients that we can possibly find, and it's all made in the spirit of connection, so that we bring people together and celebrate the ingredients and the people and the community here.
There's a few things about your process that I find absolutely fascinating, but one that hasn't happened yet, but I know it's not even in there, but there's going to be a rainwater thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, it will happen. We had a few snags along the way, but we'll eventually want to produce everything with rainwater.
But a really cool thing that you do as well is you not only do you use the prerequisite juniper berries for, say, making your gin, but you also wild forage some conifers. Was it pine or fir? Douglas fir.
Yeah, we have a happy Douglas fir tree that overlooks the ocean, and we visit it every year, and the family gets together, and the two kids, we forage all the beautiful little green fir tips, and they're so sweet and citrusy and delicate, and we make a few things. So we make a soda, and then they're also a really key ingredient in our gin, our Harmony dry gin.
That yuzu that we had you guys use, I know Miguel, you were in particularly fond of yuzu, and I believe Candice, you were like, yeah, this is amazing. And
oh yeah, love what you do there, and we were so inspired by all your micro milling and all your fresh botanicals that you bring in from Japan. So yeah, right. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated with the ingredients from Japan, and so it's like you don't run into them very often, and when you mentioned that you had access to yuzu, it was like, oh, right on, let's do something.
And that yuzu in particular is from a farm in Gifu. So there's it's called Kaminoho, the area, and we bring that in from, it's like an organic farm. We were able to visit in 2019. And then the tencha, I thought it would be kind of cool to talk a bit about the gin, but also to cup the tencha together. So do you, what I would love you to do is just measure out 5 grams of tencha into a small bowl. On top of these leaves, we're going to measure out 150 grams of boiling water. And then this tencha that we got you is from a farmer named Mr. Takaki. And so the Kaminoho yuzu is in central Japan on the main island of Honshu, whereas this tencha is from a farm in Fukuoka, which is on the southern island of Kyushu. And this is kind of crazy, right? Normally, if you were drinking this to drink, you would not want to put boiling water on it, right? Because it's gonna make your tea taste horrible. But for this process of understanding the tencha, or even really understanding the sencha, you're purposefully bringing out the flaws. This is gonna accentuate the problems that you're likely gonna have with the tea. And tencha is the botanical that's milled into matcha. So matcha is a powdered green tea but not all powdered green tea is matcha. So to qualify as a matcha, you need to use tencha. But at 1 minute, you want to use that sieve that I was telling you about. Like if you have a sieve, and you want to like dip into it. If you're going to do this all official and everything, is you would actually take the sieve and you would actually pull kind of loosely out the botanical, and you'd put it over into another bowl. So we've done sort of an aromatic assessment, but then you would take a spoon and you would sip from the spoon. So smell the liquid. So they say a dry aroma. So you're going to assess for like the aromatic of the tea before you hit it with water and the appearance, and then you're going to add the water, and at a minute you're gonna assess the wet fragrance. And then once you've assessed the wet fragrance, then you can like slurp like wine right out of the spoon, and that's gonna like throw the liquid to the back of your throat and access those retro or factory senses, those smelling sensors behind your nose there, so that you can really assess that flavor. Mine smells like cotton candy, and there's some really nice kind of cooked spinach and cooked kale and kind of this like sweet green kind of thing happening.
This has almost a citrusy, a bit of a tang, and even some mineral, I would say.
Lots of umami.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, cool. So we're at the 3 minute and 20 second mark, and it's going to keep transforming as you go. So there's a little bit of botanical left in that bowl, and so if you keep tasting it as you go, you're going to get a sense of what this tea has to offer. Some of the teas, when they're like a lower quality selection, they're going to get, or if they're grown in a way that really highlights sort of brightness and acidity, etc., you're actually going to find that those ones, generally speaking, also are going to have a higher tannin content. So you're going to get kind of like it's like chewing on grape skins. There'll be like a sandiness that develops, and that often happens when you use too hot of a temperature on your green tea in general.
We're on a new system right now where we have a part 1 and a part 2. So you're watching part 1 right now, and make sure that at the end of this episode you're aware that you need to click to part 2.